Sayugani Attapurisa Pugalang Esa Bhagavato Savaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakhineyo Anjalikaraniyo Anuttaram Punyam Ketam Lokasati Namo Tassa Atta Ariya Puggala Mahasangasa Evang Buddhang Sarantanang Dhammang Sanghang Cha Bhikkhavo Bhayang Vacham Vitatthang Valo Mahanso Nahesati Ghanasara Padittena Deepena Tamadhansina Siloka Deepam Sambuddham Pujayami Tamonudam Gandha Samphara Yuktena Dhupena Sugandhina Pujaye Pujaniyantang Puja Bhajana Muttama Vannagandha Gunopetang Etang Kusuma Santate Pujayami Munindassa Siripada Saroruhe Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sada Sutti Bhavantute Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Sutti Bhavantute Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakhantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanghanubhavena Sada Sutti Bhavantute Vivadana Silassa Nityang Vaddhapachayino Chattaro Dhamma Vardhanti Ayu Vanno Sukhang Balang Ayu Arogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Ato Nibbana Sampatti Iminate Samijjatuti. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay. Okay, we have very privileged today. Come in, come in. Sorry. So we will now begin the session. I have the honor today to welcome our honorable speaker and all the participants. Today is the 20th week of this Dhamma Desana series, which we have been conducting on the occasion of birth centenary of our teacher, Most Venerable Acharya Buddharakkhita, the founder of Mahabodhi Society, Bangalore. To mark his birth centenary, Mahabodhi Research Center is offering this Dhamma Dana. And in this process, we have been already conducted past many weeks. We have been conducting this Dhamma lectures, inviting many scholars and monastic and Dhamma masters and teachers across India and overseas speakers. Previously, you already have listened Dhamma from Bhantes from Sri Lanka and Thailand and Burma as well. We have today Dr. Praveen Kumar. I welcome you, Dr. Praveen Kumar, to Dhamma, to Mahabodhi Research Center and to today's Dhamma lecture. I will give the brief introductions about Praveen Kumar. Dr. Praveen Kumar has obtained his bachelor in history, master's and MPhil and PhD in Buddhist studies from Delhi University. He has qualified UGC NET in Buddhist studies. Dr. Praveen Kumar has written 2 books as well to his credit, and he has been engaged with teachings and research for the last 14 years. He has taught Buddhism at the National Institute of Social Science and Works in Odisha. That is how I came across with Dr. Praveen Kumar. And when he was here in Odisha, I met him and I find him essentially and humble. It's a dedicated person who actually working to impart this Buddhist knowledge. And he is a very wonderful teacher in Pali, expertise in Pali and Buddhist studies. So after his service in Odisha, he actually now working as an associate professor at Subbharati University, Swami Vivekananda Subbharati University, Meerut. He has attended several national and international conferences across the country, and his research articles have been published and in reputed national and international journals. So this is his brief introductions about Dr. Praveen Kumar. I wholeheartedly, on behalf of Mahabodhi Research Center, my team, Professor Dr. Ramchandra, who is heading the PhD programs under Mahabodhi Research Center, and me, Bhikkhu Buddhadatta, and all our team welcome you, Dr. Praveen. And today you're going to speak about your topic, Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, and Asalha Purnima, the Guru Purnima. We call it as Dhammacakka Pavattana Din. Last full moon day, on the 3rd of July, we celebrated this important day called the Dhammacakka Day, where the Buddha preached for the first time his sermon at Pavattana and Sarnath, giving his first discourse to the 5 monks. And this indeed a very, very important and significant events, not only in the life of the Buddha, but for the entire humanity, for the seekers of truth, for the lover of peace, for all of us, because Buddha gave his first desana, and the Dharma came into existence. So also Sangha also came into existence. And therefore, the Buddha's mission of compassion started from that day onwards with those 5 group of monks. There are many such important events happened from since then. And why the Buddha preached this Dhamma, and why he used that term as Dhammacakka, the wheel of life, the wheel of truth. And what is the importance of this Dhammacakka now, in this modernity, in this present time? How the Dhammacakka is still rolling on and on, enlightening the beings from suffering. So we'll try to understand the importance of Dhamma through this Dhammacakka Sutta. And that is how this is the brief introductions, and Professor Praveen Kumar will going to speak. So without further delay, I invite Dr. Praveen to give the Dhamma lectures today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ventiji. Thank you for your nice words. At the very outset, that I would like to express my deep sense of gratitude to Venerable Buddhadatta, who gave me this wonderful opportunity to appear before you this evening and to share my knowledge about Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta and its significance. Well, as we know that word Dhammacakka, it has occupied a very important place in Pali literature as well as in the Buddhist philosophy. Why Dhamma should be treated as a chakra, why it should be compared with a chakra, that I will speak on it. But before that, let me begin with the Buddha journey, which he made just after being enlightened until the first sermon, which took place at Ishipatan Migdao Sarnath Varanasi. We all know that Buddha had attained the knowledge of a Paticca Samutpad, dependent origination, to in the people of the world. But earlier, he was reluctant to impart this knowledge to the people of the world because he found that the knowledge what he attained is a very deep and a subtle, and the masses are very ignorant, and they are not intelligent enough to understand his teaching. If we try to enlighten them, and if they don't understand, it may be extremely painful for a Buddha. So that's why that earlier he was reluctant about educating the ignorant masses. But a literature informs us that in the Shahampati Brahma appeared before him and requested Buddha that there are certain persons in this world who will understand your teaching. So Venerable, that please you move ahead and you enlighten them. Otherwise, this world, it would destroy. Here, let me briefly explain about this Paticca Samutpad, and four novel truth later I will discuss. And in the light of that, I will try to explain that how it's why it is called a chakra. What is the meaning of it, the chakra here? That perhaps the Atkatha literature, the commentator literature is just silent on it, and I have done some new research on it, that why this Dhamma should be treated as a chakra and why it should be compared with the chakra. But let me briefly explain about in the Paticca Samutpad, that we know that Paticca Samutpad, it has occupied a very central position in the Buddhist literature. And according to this, the theory that nothing takes place independently in this world, that every dhammas, it depends upon the other dhammas. And this Paticca Samutpad, as we know, that it is divided into in the 12 parts, that which starts with the avidya and ends with the jaramaran. This is a avidya pachay sankhara, sankhara pachay vijnanang, vijnanang pachay nam rupang pachay salayatanang, salayatanang pachay fasso, फस पच्चय वेदना, वेदना पच्चय तन्हा, तन्हा पच्चय उपादान, उपादान पच्चय भव, भव पच्चय जाति, जाति पच्चय जरा मरण, शोक परिदेव दुख दोमनस्य. So Buddha was aware of this fact that avidya is responsible, our ignorance is responsible for everything in this world. That because of our ignorant nature, that we don't identify, don't understand the real nature of in the world. That's why we develop our attachment, and that is technical, develop our attachment. And in order to achieve that kind of the attachment, then the effort which we put, that is known as a sankhara. This is in the karmic formation. And this sankhara, it gives birth to the vijnan, which means that a person enters into in the mother womb. And this is a vijnan which leads to the nam roop. This nam is a mental and a roop is a material, nam roop. And nam roop pachay shalayatan, that is 6 hour faculties, and the ayatan, which means a door, through which that we come into contact with the things, and that is technically known as a fuss. And this first, it creates a vedana, feeling. And this vedana, it creates and the tanha, desire. And this Tana, it creates the upadan, that is strong desire, and a upadan, this it creates a bhav, that is a sansara, and a bhav it creates and the jati, birth, and the jati it creates the jara maran shok paride. So this is a cycle. Here I would like to inform you that this is a paticca samutpad, this is a spiritual science. This is also a science. It must not be treated as a confined all into a spiritual, but it is a science. I'd like to inform you that what entire Europe took 2000 years to understand the things that Buddha introduced 2000 years before about this paticca samutpad. And this is a science. But the differences between this Buddhist science and the other natural science, that in order to understand this Buddhist science, it is very much required for a person to get rid from the defilements, that the defilements of in the lobha, dosha, and a moha, that ignorance, greed, and the aversion. This is very much required to get rid from it. Then at the experiential level, we can understand this, the 12 link of in the paticca samutpad. Unless or until, if you don't get rid from this defilement, it is very difficult for a person to understand this paticca samutpad. So the Francis Bacon, this European scientist, he understood this theory very later. But in the Buddha introduced much earlier in the ancient time, this paticca samutpad. So this was a very deep and a difficult theory discovered by in the Buddha. And Buddha did not want to very much, he was not interested to impart this knowledge to in the people of the world. But in the Shahampati Brahma, he requested him, he forced him that you move ahead, and there are a certain person who will understand you in the teaching. Then the Buddha made up his mind, and he thought that whom he should first teach. Then he thought of his earlier two teachers, Alar Kalam and the Udakram Putra. But he saw that both of them have left this world. And then he decided to teach his 5 bhikkhus who were the earlier companion of in the Buddha, and they were Asajji, Bap Bhadai, Kondinne, and Amahanam. And then Buddha left this Bodh Gaya and moved towards that Ishipatan Migdao Sarnath Varanasi. In the way, he met and the Upak named by Azibak, and who asked him that who he was and who was his teacher. Upak was hesitant to believe his words when in the Buddha said that he was an arahant and he had attained knowledge himself without any teacher, and there was none equal to him. But he could not dare contradict him, because he could see that his sense organs were very pure and his complexion was a very bright and a very clear, an irrefutable proof of his spiritual attainment. The Buddha also further said that he was going to Kasi to set in motion that wheel of a Dhamma. And then he reached Kasi, Ishipatan Migdao. He went there and preached Dhamma to the group of in the 5 bhikkhus. That the first teaching he taught them was to avoid the two extremes of indulgence in sensual pleasure and practicing austere panakka. The one is among the sense pleasure, addiction to attractive sense pleasure, low of the villager, of the average man, unaryan, not connected to the goal. Not connected to the goal. And the other was that a self-torment, ill, anaryan, and not connected with the goal. That both of them are not very much that useful for a person for the attainment of in the liberation, that is a Nibbana. Both these are not a useful. It was based on his experience. That Buddha did not read it any book in this about this theory, but it was based on his experience, on the experiential feeling that he propounded this theory. He showed it for himself that no amount of austere practices can enable one to attain the highest good. Therefore, the next Dhamma he taught was the Majjhima Patipada, known as a novel eightfold path, also called the middle path, consisting of the Shil, Samadhi, and a Pragya. All that taught them was not based on a heresy or on his intellectual reflection, but on his experience. He showed it for himself that neither indulgence in sensual pleasure nor practice of austerities would lead him to the attainment of the highest good. Here, let me explain about in the Shil, Samadhi, and a Pragya. We know about a Shil, Samadhi, and a Pragya, but a Shil is the ethics, that is a first milestone, and a Samadhi is a second milestone, which is a psychology, and a Pragya is a third milestone, which is a metaphysics. That a Shil, that a Buddha emphasized time and again on the Shil, Samadhi, and a Pragya. That a Shil, it helps us to curtail our physical and a vocal mistake. It makes us purify. But Buddha was a great psychologist. At the level of his experience, he realized that a mind is a very fickle. It jumps like a monkey from in the one branch of tree to in the another branch of tree. As it is written in the Dhamma literature, that a pandalam chapalam chittam durakhang tunnivadayang ujung karoti medhavi uskaro atejna. So in order to control this monkey mind, that he prescribes and the samadhi, and the samadhi is of in the two types. One is a samadh and another one is the vipassana. Through the samadh, that Buddha realized that he was able to control only his conscious mind, but he realized at an experiential level that a lot of activities took place in the subconscious and unconscious mind. How to control it? He prescribes the vipassana. Vipassana is a Pali word which means to see, to look something, and B means to a spatial, to look something from a spatial way. What we look here, we look that there are two types of sensation. One is a pleasant sensation and another one is an unpleasant sensation. Not pleasant is permanent, neither unpleasant is permanent. When both of them are impermanent, then why to run after it? Why to anchor after it? Buddha realized it at the experiential level and what he taught to in the humanity. And a pragya is rooted in this vipassana, which means that the emergence of a wisdom, that the emergence of a knowledge. What we realize at the experiential level? We realize that every entity of this world is an impermanent. When everything is impermanent, then everything is a suffering, and that there is no permanent soul. So Shil, Samadhi, and Pragya are the basic teachings of the Buddha. And this is a Shil, Samadhi, Pragya is the inward journey. It makes us purify. We become and purify at the level of in the experience, and it leads us from in the ignorance to wisdom, from in the darkness to light, and suffering, and finally from in the suffering to happiness. He showed it for himself that neither indulgence in sensual pleasure nor practice of austerities could lead him to the attainment of the highest good. So this is the inward journey, and Buddha had realized based on his experience. This is technically known as a Bhavanamaya Pragya. Then he went on to teach them the four noble truths. The first noble truth is a ubiquitous fact of life, that all sentient beings suffer from one kind of misery or another. The Buddha said that a suffering is a physical, mental, and a cosmic, as aptly phrased by Alava Anagarika Govinda. That is, that he went into in the suffering very day. What a Pali literature, this Dhammacakka Pavattana informs us that he has classified suffering into in the three parts that is known as a dukkha dukkhata, viparinam dukkhata, and a sankhara dukkhata. Jati pi dukkha, jara pi dukkha, maranam pi dukkho, apyehi sampyogo dukkha, pyehi pipyogo dukkha, yapinchanalapti tampi dukkham, shakiten panchpadanu khandapi dukkha. He has categorized suffering into in the 8 parts that are birth, disease, old age, association with the unpleasant thing, separation from in the pleasant thing, whatever we like if we don't get. That is the all suffering. And the second is this viparinam dukkhata. This dukkhata that somebody that blamed Buddha that there are whether the Buddha was a pessimistic, there are certain things by getting which that one may become happy. Buddha realized that yes, there are certain things by getting which that one may become happy, but in the fact remains that that is also impermanent. When this is in the moment, when we get it, we become happy, and in the moment, when we lose it, we become sad. So this anityata is a character of in this world. So that is also a suffering, that is not a happiness. And the sankhara dukkhata, that our body is made of in the 5 skandhas, that is a rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara, and a vijnana. And these are all impermanent. So it is, and it is suffering. So what I mean to argue here that unlike the other philosophers, Buddha went very deep into in the suffering. He realized it at the experiential level. Not a Eastern thinkers, neither and the Western philosophers went deep into in the suffering as the Buddha said. This was a major contribution of the Buddha to in the world culture that he realized suffering at the experiential level. And when he taught the second noble truth, he propounded his philosophy, craving and aversion are the causes of our suffering. This he explained with the help of the law of dependent origination, which I explained in the beginning of my lecture. His practice of a sadhana enabled him to annihilate the cause of suffering. So he says that suffering can be ended, and a four noble truth is the way leading to the cessation of suffering, that an eightfold path. And he had walked on it and had attained a peaceful state of mind. Thus we see that unlike other philosophers, sage Heraclitus and Leibniz, he come out with an action plan, action plan to put into practice his philosophy. Philosophy put into practice and lived in life is a religion, as has been rightly said by a philosopher. So his philosophy is not a barren like in the Western philosophers. For how can his monad help over the existential problem of a mankind, which is a suffering? Compared to the Buddha's philosophy, even Heraclitus' philosophy is a barren, because his understanding that the things are in a constant state of flux could not enable him to develop a nirvana, non-attachment. So Buddha had realized this suffering at the level of the experience, at the level of experience, at the level of the experience. The Buddha also went deep. The Buddha also went deep into each of the truths so that it could be thoroughly clear. He explains each of them from the viewpoint of in the Satchiyan. Satchiyan, Kitchiyan, and a Katyan. This Satchiyan Satyan, Kichyan, and a Katyan. This Satyan is the knowledge of truth. Kichyan is the knowledge gained by trying to understand the truth thoroughly. And a Katyan is the complete knowledge. All that is suffering has to be completed, comprehend. All that is suffering has to be completely comprehended. Parinayam. And when one comprehends it, it is said it has been comprehended. Parinatam. The second truth is the suffering has a cause, and this cause has to be avended. Pahatvam. And when one gets rid of it, it is avended. Pahinam. The third truth, the cessation of suffering, is to be realized. Sachikatvam. And when one has realized it, it is said it has been realized. Sachikatam. The fourth novel truth must be developed, must be made to become Havitam. And when it is developed and made to become, when one has walked on it, it is called developed, Havitam. The if truth has a three section or a facet, and only when all four truths are understood in a 12 moods or a way, the vision of knowledge, Jnana Darshan, is purified. Only after the Shamana Gautama has purified his vision of knowledge like this, he becomes the Buddha, thoroughly awakened with the Supreme, fully awakened. When he thoroughly comprehends its truth, vision arose, knowledge arose, wisdom arose, higher knowledge arose, light arose. About something not heard before. This was a sort of eureka for him in the spiritual domain. And this was a vision of knowledge, Gyan Darshan. Not only a knowledge, but it's a vision at the experiential level. He came to know at the experiential level that a freedom of mind is for me unsackable. And this is the last birth. There is not now again becoming. While the Buddha was giving his discourse, Dhamma
Excuse me,
vision.
Professor. Excuse me, Professor
Yeah.
Ravin Kumarji. We don't see your face actually. Push that phone a little bit away from you so that we can see your face properly.
Okay. So see that Dhamma vision, this Dhamma vision, Dhamma vision, it arose, that light arose. And is a Panchavagya Bhikkhu that in the Kondina understood it at the experiential level, that what has a cause, what is to in the uprise, it has to stop it. So Kondina understood it at the experiential level that what has to be the uprise, it has to stop on it. And Anityata, he understood at the experiential level that Buddha experience his knowledge, it based on the he proved it on the experience level, that how it is, he proved it experientially, that he put it experientially, that everything is impermanent in this world, and what is impermanent, that is dukkha, and what is dukkha, that is the anatma. So Buddha, so he proved it on the experience level, and the Kondin was the first disciple that who understand his teaching that first. So the vision knowledge, this Gyan Darshan is a Gyan Darshan that it purified. This is briefly that in the short, it should be treated as a Dhamma. It is a Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma. Now a second question arises that why this Dhamma, it should be treated as a chakra. Why it should be compared with the chakra? What is the reason behind it? Before giving my own explanation, that I would like to take you a number of explanation given by in the celebrated Pali commentators. Okay. So in the few lines that I have quoted from in the Pali Attkatha literature, and after that I will give you my the own view that why it should be treated as a chakra. That in the Shilkhand Bhagga of the Atthak Bhagga of Brahmajal Sutta, that a Dhammacakka has been explained as a Dhammo Eva Chakanti, Dhammacakkam. Dhamma as a wheel or a simple Dhamma wheel. Here Dhamma has seen as a wheel. If it has seen here that this Dhammacakka is of a two type, one is a Patived Gyan and the other is a Deshna Gyan. The Khandabhagga of Attakatha, besides expressing that a Dhammacakkam in the way it has been explained above, has also explained what is a Patived Gyan, penetrating knowledge, and what is a Deshna Gyan, discoursing knowledge. Patived Gyan is that Gyan with which a Samanna Gautama comprehended the fourth truth with the 12 modes and with the 60,000 years and become the enlightened one at the Bodhi Mand under the Bodhi tree. And the Deshnayan is that yarn with which he explained the fourth truth, each with the 3 sections in all 12 modes and rolled this Dhamma way. So see that here what I mean to say that Attakatha literature where only it is written that this Buddha Dhamma is a chakra. But why it is compared with a chakra? It is not mentioned here. And the Attakatha literature is unanswered. It remains unanswered. This Attakatha literature is silent on this question. Even in the Narad Thera explained that this Buddha Dhamma, just in the way he explained as a Christian kingdom of in the God. Christian have, but even if the Narad Thera could not explain that why it should be treated with a chakra. One important thing which came in mind that why Buddha Dhamma should be compared with the chakra. It should be compared with the chakra because this chakra is an invention of the human mankind. It is an extraordinary invention of in the human mankind. This chakra, it brought about a revolution in the system of in the transportation. This is chakra. It brought about a revolution in the system of in the transportation. With the help of in the chakra, we can cover a very long distance in a very short time. This was not possible earlier. So here that this Buddha Dhamma, it should be compared with the chakra because this Dhamma is a useful or for a person for the attainment of a Nibbana very shortly. You walk on the Dhamma, the teachings prescribed by the Buddha, and you will get a liberation very soon. There is no doubt about it. It helps you to make a pure. Person becomes a pure by a physical, mental, and by in the bodily space that you become and the pure. There is what Buddha himself has said, which appeared through in the Pali canonical literature, that in Pali canonical literature, there is a Rathkara Sutta. And in the Sutta that Buddha has explained that one was a king, and a king asked his field writers, his Rathkar, to make a pair of in the field. And he made and the pair of wheel. For one wheel that he took a 6 months for that, and for the another wheel that he took only 6 days. And both of the wheel he took and went to his king and gave it to him. That the king saw that both wheel, but he found that there is no differences between in the two faiths. Then he asked his field writer, this Rathkar, that what is the differences between these two? That for that one you took for in the 6th month, and another for that for you took only a 6 days. Field writer showed him that for this field for which he took a 6 month, it was full of it a perfect way. It was much useful. But for the field which he took only for in the 6 days, that it was full of in the fault, and it was not much useful. So Buddha said that on this occasion that he was a field writer. He was a very good, Buddha was a very good, excellent teacher, that he was a teacher part excellent. He knew the method that how to educate the masses, how to educate the masses, how to train them, how to remove their defilements. Just for in the example that in the Buddha said that for his Dhamma, that he took and the million years to make his perfect. Just like that a Buddha had made this is a Dhamma. That's why when he received in the first, when he became and enlightened, his first word was that anek jati sansaran shandha vishan anivishang gahkarak gaveshanto dukha jati punang punang. गहकारक तिठोषी पुरंग गहंगना कहासी शब्बाते फासुका भगदा गह कुटंग भीषखंतंग विष्खार गत्तंग चित्तंग तनहान खय नेच काती. He has made research on the every aspect of it, the mind, that how this dukkha arises, where it arose, where its home is. And keeping this fact in the mind, that he discovered his philosophy, he discovered his teachings, what he taught to in the Panchabhagya Bhikkhu at Ishipatan Migdao, Sarnath, Varanasi. So this Buddha teaching is a very scientific. There is no doubt about it. It is and the very rational. It is no doubt about it. Undoubtedly, it has a very rational. And a Panchabhagya Bhikkhu, he understood first in the Kondanya, understood at a level of in the experience, and after Kondanya, that Asajji Bappa Bhaddai and a Mahanam understood at the level of in the experience. And then that yes understood at the level of experience. So this Buddha teaching is really a very scientific. Buddha was a very far excellent. His Dhamma may be helpful a person to remove your defilements in a very short time and to achieve the liberation in very shortly. Unlike that other Western philosophers and the Eastern philosophers, that Buddha teaching was based on the experience. He didn't borrow from in the other philosophers or other thinkers. He didn't take it from in the other book. But his philosophy was based on the experience. That's why in the Gyan Darshan, this vision arose. And the vision, it was based on in the experiential feeling, that a vision arose, light arose, wisdom arose. And this was the first ever success achieved by the Buddha. Now the Panchavagya Bhikkhu, after in the Panchavagya Bhikkhu, that this Yes Putra was a son of in the merchant, that he understood his teaching. So in the short, this Buddha Dhamma is like that. Now let me explain about that. What is the significance? What is the utility of this Buddha Dhamma in this modern time, in this globalizing world? See that in this globalizing world, we find that people have become more materialistic. People, they have really in the become and the more materialistic. Everyone need a more money and a money. And in order to accumulate money, that they don't hesitate to commit any kind of in the heinous crime. Why? It is because of in the impure mind. This mind is a devil. This is a devil. This is in the Rakshas. This is the three akushal dhamma, that is in the lobha, dosha, and a moha. Buddha explained time and again on these three enemies. It is compared with the fire, that we see that a stronger nation are attacking on in the weaker nation. Why? Because that there is a lot of aversion in their mind. Why this aversion? Because they are very much ignoring. They don't understand the things at the level of in the experience, that what is in the reality. And the reality is that a paticca samutpad, it says that we are all the same. We are all a one. No one is a different from in the other. All human beings, even in the animals, birds, and the human being, we are all related to each other. We are the relative of each other in one form or in the another, from in the different birth or in the another birth. It may happen that chicken and a fox might be our the father and brother in the last birth. So why to kill it? Why to destroy it? It is because of our in the defilements we see, it is because of our the defilements that we are destroying our nature. And it is because of this that we have faced and the pandemic like in the COVID, which was responsible for a millions of in the previous life. So if we follow this Buddha Dhamma, this is the chakra, Buddha Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, it may be helpful for us to remove our the defilements and to make us pure at physically, mentally, and vocally. And this is really and in the science. This is a Gyan Darshan, that a vision arose, light arose. And if we follow in this globalizing world, then there will be no exploitation. We will not exploit in the other human being. And if there is we will not destroy our nature, our life. It will be a very pure and a simple. There will be in the friendly atmosphere, the harmonious atmosphere in the society, in each of us. So this is a brief in this Buddha Dhamma. And this Dhamma, it should be the compared with the chakra, which I told you that even in the Atthakatha literature is a silent tonic. But why this it should be treated with a chakra? I told you this simply that chakra is the invention of the human mankind. It brought about a revolution in the means of in the transportation. Just like this chakra, this Buddha Dhamma may be helpful a person to remove our defilements and to attain liberation in the very shortly. One major contribution of in the Buddha Dhamma is that in other sources we find that a chakra, it stands for in the violence. In the Gita, that Krishna took this chakra because he used it to destroy the demon, but he has used it in the violent manner. But here in the Buddhism, this chakra, it stands for the non-violent peace. In the non-violent way that we achieve our goal, this is a goal of a liberation, this attainment. Because according to in the Buddha, that this the world is full of suffering, and the only way to get rid of in the suffering is this is a liberation. This is the Nibbana. And how to attain this Nibbana? This Nibbana can be attained through this eightfold path. And why it should be treated as a chakra? because it helps a person to attain this goal very shortly. But it does not appear only, it is not significant, this Buddha Dhamma, for the attainment of in the spiritual thing. It is very useful for each one of us in the society, for in the worldly things also. That in our worldly life we can make our life pure. That if we move on the path prescribed by the Buddha, there will be no exploitation. There will be no exploitation of it. There will be no exploitation by a person to person. There will be no exploitation by a stronger nation to the weaker nation. And there will be the peace, harmony, and a friendly attitude in the society. This is briefly in the Buddha Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta. Thank you, Vantaji. Now this lecture is over. If there is any comment, observation, and the question, you are the most welcome to ask. Hello? यार क्या हो गया है? Hello?
Thank you, Dr. Praveen Kumar, for your exposition on Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta. And what about Asalha Purnima? Sharat.
Oh, sorry, Ramchand sir. Where is the speaker? Speaker, Dr. Praveen, are you there?
Dr. Praveen Kumar?
Hello. Call join करो ना. Wait कर रहे सर आपका.
Meanwhile, Ramchan sir, please continue with the
Yes,
questions if anybody has questions. But he has not talk about this Asalha, no?
Asalha
The
Purnima.
moon day. Maybe you can add on a little bit on that.
But what is important is, Bante, director,
Yes,
this,
please.
in Dhammacakka Pavattana, majority of the listeners, so they know what is Dhammacakka Pavattana and self-mortification, self-indulgence, etc. What we have to identify is the road less traveled, because understanding of this Dhamma, okay, in a quick way, okay, the reality, understanding Dhammacakka Pavattana, okay, how, what is the hidden messages that is those messages not okay understood by any other lay person. We have to go delve deep into it, and we have to take out the message.
Very true, rightly mentioned, Ramchandra sir.
But
Now path has been laid
down.
Path has been discovered by the Supreme Buddha.
Supreme Buddha.
But
And-
nobody is willing to work on that.
How it is self-perpetuating. This
Yes.
rebirth and death, how it is self-perpetuating. And therefore, what is the way out? That is law of causality we have to speak, Bante. In
True
particular,
enough.
the
Hmm.
law of causality and sati is very important, na Bante.
Sati is important. Now, for
Law of
example,
causality in Chittaviti, if we take up to this Vattapana, up to
Yes.
Vattapana, it is Vipaka.
Vattapana.
Thereafter, jnana is full awareness. There we are committing Kushala and Akushala. At
But,
Vattapana, we must have Unisa Manasikara and Sati. Vipaka we can't avoid.
Yes.
And that is why it is a law of causality, self-perpetuating, because we are not applying our Unisa Manasikara and Sati. We are
Yes.
putting Kushala, we are converting Kushala into Akushala. Here we have
Yeah, that is the point, right point. That is the point. If you have sati and awareness sampajanya, then you can curve it, you can change it to kushala.
And then never-ending story.
Yes. Because of, you see, because of that ignorance, because of the past, there is a present, we have the bhava, and the ignorance and craving, which is not only now, it also comes from the past. And once we catapult into this life, this bhava also continues, the becoming. And since the bhava continues, and then we have craving and clinging in this life as well.
Bhava is present Sankara.
Sankhara.
Sankara is past life, Sankara.
Yes.
And that gave to Patisandhi.
Patisandhi.
In consciousness,
Future.
Year.
Yes. So we have to understand in these connections of the causality, analyzing with our own mind, analyzing how our consciousness is driven by ignorance and craving, how it dependently co-arising. These things has to be understood very deeply.
But you differentiate between, for the audience, the difference between Dhamma, wheel of Dhamma and wheel of life.
Very good question. Okay, on behalf of, I think, Dr. Ramchandra is asking me. Okay, see, very interesting actually. We have Sansara Chakra, no doubt. That's called Bhava Chakra. You know, Bhava Chakra, many of you already when you go through sufferings and you face turbulences, torment and problems, sufferings in your life, you say, oh, Bhava Chakra, oh, Sansara, aho dukkham. Because it is perpetuating. Sansara is perpetual existence, recurring existence, which goes on and on endlessly and endlessly. Because of loka dharma, because of the worldly dichotomies, which keeps on catapulting us time and again. Because we are doing the same things again and again. And we go through same thing again and again. That is how the birth, old age, death, these are in the present and doesn't stop here. We have to go to the next life, rebirth. Then the process continues. Now here, Buddha in the first instance, he gave this Dhammacakka, this metaphor is very, very important. Because Dhammacakka has also 8 spokes. As they say, Samsara Chakra has 8 factors. We have Atta Loka Dhamma. Sometimes you know that Anda Bhuta Yang Loko.
Shayala's topic na bante, PhD topic.
Yes. You have Lave, Alave, Yase, Aise, Sukhe, Dukhe, Ninda, Pasansa.
Yes.
All our entire life, if you look through everybody, all the listeners, our life is actually governed by these 8 conditions.
Very true.
Every time we are encountering this.
Beautiful.
But we actually take it as normal. Nobody even think to get out of this circle, because we think when there is praise, there is also blame. When there is profit, there is loss. When there's happiness, there is sorrow. But we never try to find out what is the cause and how to make an end of this cycle.
Yes.
How to go beyond this recurring existence to a safe place, to something which is beyond these conditions.
Yes.
Another way we can put it as like extremes. Buddha said, "Dveme bhikkhave anta pavajita nasevitabang." Now, dve anta means these loka dhamma, profit and loss, or sukha and dukkha, ninda and prasansa. In everything, we have these extremes. Sensual pleasures also extremes. When you go into these extremes, you have sufferings, you face real life situations, not only a physical pain or pain in terms of mentally,
Yes.
pains in terms of your families, your social problems, you see that? Because not following the sila and you go into extreme substantial pleasures, that is also dukkha. Another thing is that,
Duccharita.
okay, duccharita. So the more you involve in duccharita, more suffering comes up to you. It's just as simple as that. And in name of also religious spiritualism and so on, we actually go into extremes. And we lose at the end, we lose this whole life, the essence of life, and we don't get anything. Like in those,
Bantu,
yes.
Sorry for interrupting. The two extremes are because of ditti. The role of ditti.
Ditti, yes, considerably the significant role of ditti and also ignorance. Because ditti, when there is no right view, there is ignorance, no doubt. Yeah, and there is no doubt. Ignorance and ditti, or not understanding the phenomena as they really are, not understanding the true nature of the things as they really are. And sometimes the conditionings of sankhara and past karmas, which will lead us to such a place, such a circumstances, conditions where we don't understand Dhamma at all. He's teaching even Dhamma, if the Buddha also manifesting in front of us, but we still don't understand anything. Like you have seen, right?
Yes.
Buddha suffering, everybody understand.
Yeah.
Everybody, nobody have ever, everybody seen suffering in their life. But how many of us really comprehended dukkha in its true nature? Buddha says, dukkhaṃ arya saccam pariññātabbanti me bhikkhave. It has to be comprehended in its totality. But our sufferings, people, we forgot the sufferings. We actually have dukkha, but the next moment we forgot everything. We say, no, life is very not like that. We expect something. Then our cravings comes in and we have that, the chakra goes off. So, Vedana Pachaya Tanha, Tanha Pachaya Upadana, Upadana Pachaya Bhava. There is the cycle. And if you want to, as I say, if you want to break this cycle of this recurring existence, sometimes we think, what is this samsara? The samsara is another name of dukkha. If you see samsara is nothing like, you are in the samsara, you are involved in the samsara, but you think that, no, I'm not in samsara. You are delighting in the samsara at this moment. You find pleasure therein, no doubt. But there is something called Dhammacakka. If you follow the Dhamma in the life, in your life, and this wheel will rotate and this wheel will makes you free, gives you freedom from suffering. That is more important. Samsara Chakra has no ending. Anyway, we go on and on. But if you want to be free from dukkha chakra or bhava chakra, then we have to follow the Dhamma in our life. In what sense we follow the Dhamma? By developing the threefold training. We call it as SSP, Sila Samadhi and Panya. And where is that Sila Samadhi Panya? It is in our life. We have to see that Sila Samadhi Panya. People say, well, what is that Noble Eightfold Path? A Noble Eightfold Path not far away from your life. Why do you have to wait for Noble Eightfold Path? It is right here. The path is not end actually. The path is right here in front of us. It's a means. You have to walk. And you have to walk, and then you come to the end of this road. You realize the cessation of dukkha nirodho. And to make an end of this suffering, we have this eightfold path, eight factors of, as I said, Dhammacakka also eight spoke. But this eightfold complete path is what the Buddha named it as the middle path, the Majjhima Patipada. The Buddha was very particular about that. He was very systematic in his teachings. He said, this is the extremes, this is the middle path. What is that middle path? This Noble Eightfold Path. And how that Noble Eightfold to be understood? From the dukkha itself. Dukkha, dukkha samudaya, dukkha nirodha gamini patipada. This is not like reading one time, remembering the suttas. Even you remember 100 times, it is not going to affect anything. It actually has to be contemplated, to reflect it in our daily life and see that reality, see this message, using this Dhamma in our life for contemplation.
That is practiced, Bante.
Yes.
Contemplated and practiced to purify.
Purify. Therefore, Buddha says, Bhave Tabbang, very, very important word called Bhave Tabbanti me bhikkhave. Now, when you say Bhave Tabbang, it doesn't mean the remembering. Buddha doesn't say just Sutamaya, Chintamaya, Chinte Tabbang, He doesn't say that. He said it should be Bhavanamaya Panya. And dukkha, like that, when we have to contemplate these truths in relations to with our own life, if there is dukkha in our life, there is also suggestion of the path. So every moment when we contemplate, reflect, realized, practically experienced, then this path becomes really very, very strong.
But today's honorable speaker told that the mention of chakra is not there, even in commentary. Therefore, I have done some research. Therefore, we can cover long distance. Okay. Or what is your take on this, Bante? Chakra, okay, Dhammacakka is, okay, as per the speaker, today's speaker, he told now it has been, okay, defined as chakra.
No, he hasn't really very clear about it. That is very vague, distinct clarification, explanation. Actually, we should go to the commentary on the Dhammacakka. It is very specifically mentioned about chakka, Dhammacakka. Why the Buddha used this chakka symbolically? There is a very, very important significance behind it. Buddha never said, why he used a chakka for Dhammacakka, not Bhavacakka, not any other chakka. Like he mentioned about the Krishna chakra, or about this
violence, non-violence.
Yes, or chakra for traveling wheels, or means of transport, and so forth. Here Buddha says Dhamma Chakka, and this Dhamma Chakka, which is, he says in the answer of this Upaka, actually, if you see the explanation of the Buddha himself, Buddha, when he was encountering Upaka, and he says, Gachami kasinang purang andhabhutasming lokasming aharancha amata dunduving Dhammacakka pavattetum Gachami kasinang purang. So Buddha used their Dhammacakka already.
Wow.
When the Buddha himself used Dhammacakka, what is going for the commentary?
Yes.
There is no point of commentary.
Then canonical, it is available in canonical.
It is available in canonical itself.
Yeah.
When the Buddha speaks well, it is Buddha's own word. So no need of commentary.
Buddha Vachana it is.
It is Buddha Vachana itself. So, Gachami Gajina Puram, Dhammacakkam Pavattetum. He says, like, Andhabhutasmi Lokasmi, in this blindfold world, I'm going to beat this drum of deathless. Andhabhuta, blindfolded world, we never understood the truth. And he is going to beat this drum and roll in, set in motion this Dhammacakka.
You're setting
So,
the wheel in motion. Dhamma wheel in
yes, yes, setting or rolling or, reversing that. The Dhammacakka is reversing actually. Dhammacakka going against the stream of the craving. It is not going with the world. Everything is going with the world in the samsara. Dhammacakka is not that. Dhammacakka is on time, reversing our mind, the kilesas, or you can say releasing. And this Dhammacakka which is set in motion by the Buddha himself. Therefore, it is continuing till now, and it continues till
Bante,
5,000 years. Yeah.
today this speaker told it is
Mm.
metaphysics. Dhamma is behind the metaphysics, Bante. Dhamma
Yes.
is psyche, philosophy. It is psychology without psyche, and it
Mm.
is behind metaphysics.
Indeed. You explain it, Ramchandra sir, in terms of Avidhamma.
Yeah.
Dhamma can,
Paramatta Dhamma,
yes.
ultimate realities. It is a law of nature.
Mm.
It is behind the time and space, and it is not metaphysics. Dhamma. Okay,
No,
Dhamma is
because
superior, ultimate.
metaphysics talks about only the matters, only the physical reality, physical realms or physical matters, the connections and relationship with that. But Dhamma is a science of mind. We will have to term it this way, where like the human science, which we cannot explore to that extent. Dhamma is science of mind, which talks about transforming, cultivating, and purifying the mind of beings and taking us to the another world of freedom, the dimension of Paramatha. So it cannot be compared with only metaphysics.
Bante, lastly, what is message to the listeners and audience? Okay, what the message that you wanted to give to Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta to the 21st century audience?
Okay, this fine. I'm going to answer it on behalf of the speaker himself. I don't see him, right? He's not there, Ramchandra sir, no?
He is not there, Bante.
Okay, so it is fine. So, in fact, Ramchandra sir, what is you asked me questions. Actually, it is for everybody on behalf of all of us. The Dhamma is timeless, akalika. It is relevant even those Buddha's time. It is relevant now, and it will be relevant in the future. For example, Buddha says this: "Katamecha bhikkhave paticca samuppada," and this paticca samuppada Dhamma, upadoba, anupadoba, tithativa loke. Whether the Buddha, this paticca samuppada Dhamma is always, it is there. And this is being discovered by the Tathagata in the form of, Four Noble Truths. So it is applicable till now in 21st centuries, and very much it is relevant now, because the dukkha of Buddha's era or dukkha of now is the same of nature. The craving and ignorance of those time and now it is the same. Even now it is more compared to Buddha's era. The involvement and sort of the proliferations which you're going through now, many of you already know how the world is functioning in this world, in this loka. Again, I'm talking about loka. When the Buddha said loka, you have to understand what is this loka actually.
Loka is dukkha.
Yes. And this dukkha is not in the book. People see, what is dukkha? Why dukkha is don't have to be searched in the book itself. Dukkha is to be seen in your heart. So he says, Dukkhan cheva panya pemi. Dukkhan cheva nirodho. Buddha only teach two things.
But in the 21st century, the power of
Yeah.
ignorance is high, power of ignorance.
Hmm.
The power of Dhamma, because people are not practicing.
Yes, and that is due to lack of saddha, lack of faith in the triple gem, and and also the ignorance is so strong. The temptation is very strong, and there is no sila at all. There is no foundation. There is no discipline. So when there is no foundation in form of sila, then there is no calmness in the mind. And when there is no calmness, there is no wisdom. Nobody can see anything. You cannot realize the true nature of reality. Even though we are seeing this truth, Buddha says, as you said, suffering in this body itself, because ours is inner journey, internal journey. So therefore, in this 21st century, the first thing is that we should use this Dhammacakka as a way of awakening, the way of liberating our own defilements, way to improve ourselves with virtues, with morality, way to put forth some control and restraint over the mind. And this is the way to develop wisdom through understanding, to straightening, correcting our views, to correcting our thought patterns, and that is only possible when we really very systematically, we seriously follow in our daily life. When you follow, these three things should not be actually separated. We think there are three different things.
To follow this, Bante, a conviction is required that the true nature of things are anicca, dukkha, and anatta.
Yes.
One should have conviction. Then we have to start
Conviction.
practicing this.
Rightly
The true
said.
nature of things are ADA, anicca, dukkha, and anatta. And the dukkha has been explained in commentary, Bante. Do plus come. Do means unsavory, odious, and bad.
Bad.
Come means the empty space or empty land. And the empty land will be full of dangers. Dukkha.
Yes. Yes.
When we achieve anything, whatever post, position, power, etc., ultimately it results in dukkha only. Unsavory.
Yes.
Okay, it is not having any taste. Okay, ultimately after the pleasure, pain starts. After the gratification. And that is loka.
Yes. So kaikang dukkang, kaikang vedanang, asatang, duparinamang dukkang, so many varieties in the commentaries that you mentioned. It's not about only physical pain or unpleasantness. It's much beyond that. You see. So, but here, as I said, to understand this path, in this Dhammacakka Sutta, if we really take our life very seriously and we think to contemplate on this sutta and really know what the Buddha meant here and why he structured his teachings in such a way that we understand this, and with Noble Eightfold Path, the Four Noble Truths, and the ways to realize that, the Four Noble Truths, and then how Kondanya becomes alone, only one Aryas in this human world among so many, you see. Now, compared to those days, even now, be very hard to see Aryas, the Sotapanna, Saktagami. Forget about that. We don't have time to come to the Vihara also.
Where is Jana?
We don't.
Jana also not attend. They are in Mana. Mana versus Jana.
So everybody is really running and chasing after all the worldly affairs and worldly gains, and as I said, everything is just revolving around that.
Mara effect.
Yeah, it's very strong effect of the Mara in every day. So we literally forget about Dhamma. We don't know, forget about the path, which is the Sangha, or going to the Vihara, having contact with the monks, or like Kalyana Mitas, like Ramchandra Sir and many others who really have seriously practicing.
Putujana definition yesterday I saw. Putu plus Jana. Jana means person. Pitu
Jana
means
means person,
Jana means person.
ordinary.
Ordinary person.
Pratak is
Pitu
ordinary.
means who is not an Arya.
Not an area, it's ordinary. It's like worldling, we can say, worldling. Yeah.
Therefore,
Yeah, they are not in counting, uncountable. You cannot count it in numbers.
countless.
Yeah. So,
And Dhammacakka Pavattana is 5,000 years na bante span. Already we have completed half the mark. Remaining 2,500 years, this power of Dhammacakka, within which we have to look into this Dhamma, Vipassana, etc. and get rid of. Otherwise, afterwards, Dhamma availability is very not possible, no? Rare.
yes, very true.
Dhammacakka, 5,000 years span. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಇವರು ಸ್ಪೀಕರು ಏನಪ್ಪ
ಕನೆಕ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ.
So he's joining now this, okay, that, anyhow, sorry, Ramchandra sir, he called me this, that professor. So
Praveen Kumar.
Praveen Kumar. But I see he tried to explain, he is genuine, and but he doesn't know, maybe online thing is very, nowadays, have to be used to this set of things. How to place that camera, and it should be a little bit distance, and you should have a microphone. Slowly, these people are getting used to, after COVID, this online setup. So we may expect him for some time. So it has been a nice discussion. So message is very clear, Ramchandra sir.
Yes, Bante.
To let us practice this Dhamma, use this Dhamma message. Not Dhammacakka means, when you say Dhammacakka, means your eightfold path. So you should actually practice eightfold path. And then eightfold path means Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila means you, at least start with 5 precepts. Meditation, many of you know already how you are practicing meditation. Anapana, Metta Bhavana. Out of 40 meditation subjects, you can take anything for your contemplations. And then using that contemplations, you don't expect that Vipassana and Jnana will happen overnight. You see, have to practice over and over again of this samatha. Keep developing the samatha. Keep correcting your views, understanding the things, and Vipassana will come automatically. It's not that 10 days Vipassana course or some courses you joined and you have reached to the perfection. And you are almost close to the enlightenment, as if you are going to be enlightened very soon. That's a big illusion. This needs to be practiced, perfected, has to be digested, has to be realized in our daily life till we reach the completion, till we see there is no suffering. Once you make an end of suffering, that means you are an Arya, you're not an ordinary person. As long as suffering exists, so long a defilement exists. So long a defilement exists, you are not a free person, totally. So that is the way. And your fetters are still there, you are still clings, and you have this sanyojanas, you have this nivaranas, and all those things like that. So start with this path. I'm sure this path of awakening will happen right here through your daily life. So opposite of Sansara Chakra is the Dhammacakka. So choice is yours, how you see this. Like the Buddha, after the discourse, all these messages has reached out to all the world systems. 10,000 world systems, imagine.
Without artificial intelligence.
Yes, and it is not physics, nothing was there at those times. It is says that to the darkest corner of this universe, where even the sunlight and moonlight never reach. Those people, they got up, literally. Oh, something has happened. Now this Dhammacakka, the Buddha's word says, resounding them and awaken them. They become alert. Likewise, the Brahma divinities, the highest form of divinities, they also got alert. They hear this sound. Therefore, Buddha says nobody can turn opposite this chakra because it is being set in motion by the Samma Sambuddha himself.
Irreversible.
Yeah, invincible. It is called aparivatya in Pali.
Irreversible. Not reversible, irreversible.
Irreversible, yes. But our path is irreversible all the time. Our people, I mean, in our daily life, how our chakra, Dhammacakka, is how strong. Our Sansara Chakra is very strong than Dhammacakka. That therefore our will is not moving upwards.
Purification is all the question is defilements versus purification, Bante.
Correct.
You are on the path of defiling or on the path of purifying. You decide.
Yes, you decide. Choice is yours all the time.
The defilement part is everything boils down to Lobha, Dosa, Moha, whether Samyojana, Asavas, etc. And in respect of purification, Sila Samadhi Panya.
Yes, that is there. Sila Samadhi Panya. So,
well, we will conclude.
Yes, is that speaker who is there still or not? Can you call up Sarat?
No.
Because
let us not disturb him, Bante.
Okay. Fine. So we appreciate him. Just say a few words, Ramjan sir, in favor of that professor.
Professor, she is having a rich material, to say frankly. And in any Dhamma discourse, okay, it has to be spoken now. Okay, it should not be read out. But Bante, what is your opinion? We take a few points and it has to be explained, Bante. Okay,
correct.
Explain it. It is not a seminar, international seminar where Siddhartha Amrit is reading.
Yeah.
Okay, Bante, that has to be explained. Even 15 minutes enough. You explain it to the audience what exactly it is. Like how you have explained now.
Yes.
Is it not, Bante?
Correct. Professor Ji, thank you. You are online. Please listen. We are giving a vote of thanks to you.
And see, this today's talk, Dhammacakka, Pavattana and Asalha Purnima, and the rich material. Okay, the audience got the material. Okay, rich material. On behalf of Mahabodhi Research Center, on behalf of the director Buddhadatta Bante, and all Bhikkhu Sangha at Mahabodhi Society, we thank immensely Dr. Praveen Kumar for his the lecture today, and also all the audience here for your participation and getting the Dhamma. We thank you for participating in this 20th session of fortnightly session of Dhamma delivery, and that is the end of today's session. Now, any Bante avaru idara? So we thank Suminda also for patiently listening to the Dhamma talk, and we will conclude. Bhavatu sabba mangalam rakkantu sabba devata sabba buddhanubhavena sabba dhammanubhavena sabba sanganubhavena sada sotti bhavantu te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.